it happened. DayZ just posted about a change they made to probably one of their most controversial updates yet. And it's definitely divided a few people, but it is probably one of the most important early game things in all of DayZ. And here I'm going to break down everything that happened, including why changing this is probably a big mistake. If you like the video, please leave a like or a subscribe, it really helps me out. But without further ado, let's get into the video. That's the guy who was taking shots at me before, so I don't really want to be friendly with him. He must have been hiding for the last 20 minutes then, because, you know, searched everywhere trying to wait. What the f? Just a quick heads up, if I sound weird right now, it's because I'm currently in an internet cafe recording this video and using the internet while I eat octopus balls in Osaka. Yep, me and the octopus really hit it off. So I don't think this update should ever be changed, and let me be clear, this is not a shot at the developers. They're going to make the changes they want to make and listen to whoever they want to listen to. No matter what they do, somebody is going to get hurt somewhere. That being said, I believe changing this would probably hurt DayZ itself, because currently the spawning system on DayZ has a somewhat clever and loose grouping system added to it. So originally when players joined DayZ, they could spawn in one of many different spawn points dotted around the coast, or on Livonia it was the river, but that changed. Basically, for a specific amount of time, all players spawn in a specific area, and there are several areas this can occur, and the area changes to a different area depending on one of two things. First of all, when a certain amount of players spawn in that specific area, it then changes to a new one. Thank you, Mr. Octopus. But I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding about how the new spawn system actually works. People assume it's just spawned you in a random populated area until it hits a certain number of players, but that's just not right. Before it went to stable, they added a timer, meaning it changes either after a specific time or once a certain number of players are in that area. And these areas are huge, by the way, but it has been hated by some players. They've argued things like it turns DayZ into a bloodbath on the coast, it takes away the randomness of DayZ itself, and some people don't like the impact it has on the lone survivor playstyle, plus a bunch of other things. Look, loads of streams have spoken about this before. There are lots of reasons people don't like it. I think the most recent one, which is a legitimate problem by the way, is if somebody is geared and in the area that you spawn in, then they can just keep killing you because you spawn within their area. So you're basically just spawning around a geared player and then getting killed and then spawning around a geared player. This is a big issue, and it's something that's even happened to me, but I don't think that means the whole system needs to be scrapped. In fact, I'd argue scrapping the system may make DayZ way worse. And one of the biggest reasons for this is because the thing that people say about DayZ all the time, that it's a walking simulator. One of the biggest complaints people have had about DayZ is that we never see other players. It's one of the most common things I hear, people calling it a walking simulator. Those people are idiots, by the way. Anyone who calls DayZ a walking simulator just lacks imagination. It's like calling GTA a driving simulator because it in fact has cars of which you drive. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted there. The octopus is looking at me seductively. Imagine playing a game where you can do almost anything, even things you can't do in most other games, like feeding people themselves, and then calling it a walking simulator. Those people need a walking simulator themselves into a wood chip. That said, I do understand why some people struggle to find players. For example, Chernarus is a gigantic map, and if you're not on a high population server, you can walk for quite a while without meeting other players. And I've said so many times and argued so many times that DayZ isn't just a survival game, it's a social sandbox. And being a social sandbox, it means that some of the best times you will ever have, some of the best memories, some of the things that stick with you long after you've stopped playing, come from interacting with other players. And that doesn't just mean after 5 hours of walking around, it means at the very start, meeting some random person in a police station and then adventuring with them for 5 or 6 hours, making some incredible memories, and then just never seeing them again because it's time to call it a night. This is now way more possible because of this system, but it's possible in a way that's not intrusive, it's not forced. You just have more opportunities, which still aren't incredibly high because so many people just want to kill. But another huge complaint I still see often from people who don't understand the new system is that you can't just easily meet your friends. Most players just want to join, link up and go on an adventure together. And yes, although if you've got a few hours in the game, it's not that difficult to meet up with friends, it can still take time if you spawn at completely different sides of the map, and that is a problem. But one of the biggest problems about it is the accessibility of it. DayZ constantly attracts new players. Whether you like it or not, new players are vital for the game's survival. Without them, DayZ would just wither away. So it is super important that DayZ is more accessible. Like, sure, I personally prefer a more difficult experience, pushing survival far beyond anything we've ever seen, something that really kicks you in the nuts. But I understand that accessibility matters. Little things like rag gloves or spawning with a knife make a big difference for beginners, and without them, most players would just quit immediately. Veterans love the challenge, but new players need an entry point. Being able to spawn near friends helps them stick around and enjoy the game. But here's the thing, some players have complained, and mostly fairly, that sometimes the system can create overcrowded areas or even bloodbaths on some servers. But here's the key thing, and this is probably the most important thing I think that could possibly exist around this issue. Server owners can turn the system off entirely. No one is forced to use it. Like Ultra Dark Nights, it's optional. You can turn it off so you don't have to like it. Just simply join a server without it. But players were asking for a system like this for so many years. It was a crazy high requested feature to be able to easily meet up with players or friends or whatever else. And now we've been given the option. Players are complaining that the option has been given to us. But realistically, the alternative is the old system, which absolutely sucked. It was archaic, it was dated, it was of its age. DayZ had to move forward with it. The old system didn't work, not really. And although some people say they want it back, it will just knock DayZ back years. And look, I'm not afraid to criticize when I think it's fair, but I also recognize that everybody plays DayZ differently. Everyone has their own version of what they enjoy, and that's what makes it so hard for the devs to please everyone. In this case though, I honestly think they gave players exactly what they asked for. Then those same players realized maybe this isn't what I actually wanted. It's like asking for ice cream and then complaining that it's cold, or dating a creature with 8 legs only to get 1 reach around. It's ridiculous. And yeah, okay, sometimes it doesn't work as well as you want it to work. I'm not going to sit here and say it's perfect. Anybody who's played DayZ knows it's not perfect. It's not a perfect system. But that mostly feels like it only really happens on servers that are really high pop. But given that like 95% of DayZ servers are not high pop, maybe even more, I don't think changing it is the practical solution here, especially when the option to turn it off for all of those servers already exists. So the devs don't have to remove it when you can remove it yourself, or just play on a server that's decided to opt for the remove option. Personally, I like the system. If I want to meet up with a friend quickly, we can spawn in roughly the same area. It still keeps that sense of independence and survival while making it easier to link up and start an adventure. I think as far as systems go, this was a very clever one to implement in DayZ without intruding on the solo survival aspect of the game by giving you the ability to outright spawn in a specific area, either alone or with another player. It's also great for continuing adventures after death. Say you've been traveling with a friend for 3 or 4 hours, get into a fight and die. Normally you'd spend 40 minutes just trying to find each other again. Now you can often spawn in the same town or in the same part of the coast and get back that fun much quicker. Alternatively, and this has happened to me more times than I even thought possible, but I've run into the guy on the coast that just killed me, or the guy that I just killed and then got killed, and then suddenly we just form this weird friendship and go on an adventure together. My only real complaint has kind of been what I think they just addressed with this latest update, although I haven't completely checked it out yet, which is the amount of times you spawn in specific areas. So it does feel like you just kind of spawn between 2 areas instead of traveling all around the map, which means if there's a geared player waiting for you, then yeah, it causes you some hassle. But as far as I'm aware, this particular update aims to remove that issue. But realistically, there is no perfect system. We either go back to the old one, which nobody liked, or keep this one, which has clear benefits but still some flaws. Personally, I think the pros massively outweigh the cons. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, but I definitely think it's a good system to keep in place, and I think it's an ingenious system as well. I thought that when they implemented it, and I maintain that thought right now after playing it for God knows how long after it released. But to me, there is no issue, because as I've said several times, if a system can be turned off completely, or you can just choose a server without it, it's not really something that needs fixing. The fix is already there. But maybe I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, or for more DayZ content, click here. Say goodbye, Octopus, and as always, until next time.